I want to talk about faith slash belief versus knowing slash gnosis, which is the same thing. When I was younger, I was a devout Christian. And all I can say is there was never a day that I didn't feel guilty. There was never a day that I didn't think I was failing Jesus because I might have thought a wrong thought or, just felt like I wasn't good enough, right? Because that's what religion breeds. Guilt, fear, shame, all of those lower emotions on the scale which keep you vibrating low, right? But the day came when I stopped fighting wanting to know. See, the way I was raised was you don't get into astrology, you don't look at your sign, leave that in God's hands. If you a Christian, you just trust God, right? Just believe. Every day in high school, I would sneak in the cafeteria, open up the newspaper like I'm hiding from God, reading the daily astrology forecast for my sign, right? And I would be like, damn, this is what's been happening too. Then I hurry up and close it up like, you know what? I ain't supposed to be doing that. Jesus, please forgive me, right? And then as the years went on and I became a mature adult, the fear left. And I said, you know what? The fear left after I had my experience, my out-of-body experience, because I was searching at the time. And my husband, who was a PhD, said to me, have you ever heard of the 16 crucified Christ? And I said, no, it was 16 of them, So he got the book for me and everything, and I got to studying, and with a pure heart. When I tell you I had all the books spread out on the floor with a pure heart, I'm like, please, I want to know what's the truth. I don't want to just believe this if it's not right. And that's when I had my out-of-body experience, and that's when the ancestor came to me. I'm not going to get into that story because this is not about that. But once I decided, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to look into astrology. There's nothing wrong with trying to understand things, right? And when I found out about astrology, the first time I learned about it was through the tropical system, which said that I was a Cancer, Pisces moon, and all watery and emotional. And I'm like, God, this is not lining up for me, and I followed that for years. And I'm like, some of the placements were like, okay, in there. But as time went on, I found out about sidereal as of late. I would say within the past 2 years. And that was hidden. That was hidden. Sidereal goes by, the actual placement of the stars versus tropical, which goes by the seasons, right? Like if you're born in July, you're automatically a Cancer because it's the summer season. It's not scientific to me. It didn't ring a bell with me. But with my sidereal, I was a Gemini rising, Aquarius moon. That made sense. The more I dug into my placements, the more I understood myself. You see, because everybody is not born to walk the same path. Everybody's not supposed to go the same way. Once you understand that by knowing thyself, which is what the book tells you, to know thyself, how can you know that unless you look at the snapshot of the stars and the planets when you made your appearance? Every house, it's 12 houses in the chart, means something. One describes your money house. One describes your friendship. One describes your childhood. And when I looked in that, I was floored. It described my mother. It described my relationship with my siblings. It described the kind of mother I would be. Everything. It's all in there. That's why you got to understand how to read the Holy Bible or the Bible. You got to learn how to read it. I know it tells you in the Old Testament, you got to know it's been tampered with. It tells you in the Old Testament, don't get into that. But that is a fear tactic. It's a fear tactic. You want to know what a book is about? Look at what the adherents of that book do. What does this country do? They swear on that book and then send our sons to war. When God says, thou shalt not kill. But yet in the Old Testament, he's the most brutal killer. Contradictions. I'm not trying to fight nobody's belief, but we're talking about belief versus knowing. And how does one know thyself? You got to get into the astrology, the astrologic, the knowledge of the stars. I swear to you, I was a devout Christian for so many years. I used to sing in the church. I used to help direct the choir. I did stage plays. I did all of that. And I didn't know shit about myself. All I knew is some man up there on the throne is going to take care of every damn thing in my life. And all I got to say is I'm sorry. And that didn't cut it. It did not cut it. And I still see people living according to that principle. And it's sad. Because when they leave here, they're going to have that same mindset and they're going to be woefully lost. I'm going to recommend a book to whoever's watching this. It's a book called 30 Years Amongst the Dead. The author is Carl Wickland. You can actually listen to it here on YouTube if you don't want to buy it. But I've read that book 3 times already. It's talking about when people leave the body and they get to the other side. Carl Wickland's wife was a medium, a psychic medium, and these spirits would speak through her. So again, it's called 30 Years Amongst the Dead. It will really open your eyes about life after life, because in reality, there is no death. And I always go back to that. I'm digressing. We're talking about belief versus knowing. When you believe something, that means you don't know. And you're going to base your soul salvation, you're going to base your afterlife on a belief? When you can know, do you know even in your birth chart, it shows how you died in your past life, how you going to die in this life? It's everything is in there. That's your map to your life. You get to see your proclivities. You get to see areas where you may be weak in. And just because in the chart it says you're weak, you just needs to know that that's what you need to work on. That's what you need to strengthen yourself in. And that way, let me give an example. Like your 7th house is the house of relationships, right? So if you have like Jupiter in your 7th house, which is a house of expansion, you may have many relationships. Somebody like that might be married 5, 6, 7 times. Somebody like that may have a plethora of relationships, one after the other, because sometimes it's karmic and you got to work some stuff out. But a person on the outside who does not understand that will be like, oh, they a hoe. Oh, something wrong with them. They can't be with one person. They can't. No, you have no understanding because you don't know what their chart says. Someone else in that chart on the 7th house may have a placement that says they'll have one monogamous relationship. That's it. And then they die. You know what I'm saying? So you can't judge somebody, just like some people may be more reckless or argumentative, but there may be something in their first house of the representative themselves that says that they have the tendency to be out of control, to have a mouth on them. Then and see, the beautiful thing about astrology, about knowing, is that if you have someone's time of birth, date of birth, and where they were born, you can already look and see if you're compatible. You don't have to waste your time like, oh, me and this person, yeah, but this person got this way and that way. Just pull up their chart. And you can look and see, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Or we need to put more effort in this area. Or we have compatibilities here. So let's try to, work with this. You see what I'm saying? Especially in the black community. They've kept us so deaf, dumb, and blind for so long in this society. I swear they have. While everybody else has been going along and understanding the higher time, we've been sitting up waiting on God to do something or to show us something. Just blind. And the blind lead the blind, they both fall into the ditch. Okay? So now, belief versus knowing, I would rather know any day than to believe. I've been in those shoes and I dare not go back. And that has separated me from many a people because I refuse to believe, because I refuse to hallelujah. I'm not doing all that no more, because you know where God is? Right up in here. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. I got that single eye. I don't need to believe. I know. I know that I know. And my Aquarius moon gives me that oomph about knowing what I know. So yeah. Belief versus knowing. With astrology, with astrologic of the stars, cosmology, thou shalt know. With religion, whether it be Christianity, any of that other stuff, organized anything is a no. Organize anything is a no. You need to walk on your own, because see, truth comes from within. It's esoteric. Lies come from without, and that's exoteric, when you're looking for things outside of yourself to validate you. It sounds like an oxymoron almost, like I'm saying you're looking out at the stars to validate. No, you need to see the placement of the stars when you made your appearance to know what your purpose is. So there, wouldn't you rather know than to believe anything? Just some food for thought.